Hello and welcome. We're here with Europe this time. Yep, that's right. Gareth and Insania on the casting desk for the European qualifiers for ESL 1 Katowice. And we've got a pretty good starting series. They've shuffled the times around. We were meant to start at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Now we're starting at 3. But Team Doggie against 5 Anchors. The Finns against the epitome of a European mix, right?
Yeah, it looks like the old Cloud9 team without Ace and Baby Knight, I think. Oh wait, no, never mind. No, it's just the two Danes.
It's the two Danes. I mean,
yeah, right.
The two brothers as well.
Right.
Who's the other one? There was Rise, right? There was Rise, Baby Knight.
Yeah, Rise, Baby Knight, and Ace.
And Ace,
I believe, yeah. So no Rise, but the two brothers. And then, I don't know. I haven't really seen this team play, so I don't really know too much about them, but they have a lot of good players. I think, like, all these people play a lot of pubs. I know the Aki M guy is really high ranked. Gorg C plays all the time. So,
skilled individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they changed their roster quite recently. They previously had LeBron and Swift ending instead of Aki and Gork. And they looked reasonably good then, but they looked pretty damn strong last night when I was casting them. They seemed pretty reasonable. But up against 5 Anchors, the Finnish stack, very recognizable names. They've really put this team together to try and prove themselves, right? Topson has been around for a long time. He started in the dumpster of UK Dota with Danny D. Back on Full Love Int. You've got Trixie there, the old guard. He's been around since freaking forever. You've got Nemphy and Peksu with Oxia as well. Maybe a little bit newer, but definitely still very, very, very good players. It's often, though, with these kind of teams that you have one driving force, with full Swedish or full Danish or full Finnish stacks, whatever the nationality is, there's always going to be that one player that, makes the calls and kind of pushes the team forward, right?
Yeah. No, that's usually how it is. But I think, actually, for this Finnish team, they're a bit more like everyone kind of chips in and they all have, like, opinions about everything. I think a big advantage for them in this tournament specifically is that they have played together at a LAN, at WSG. They all played the same 5 players. They've met each other, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think, for me at least, just like knowing that they've played together, I'd probably say they're the favorites. Though it's really hard to say. I don't really know either team too well.
So they've had their bonding session in Barcelona.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. When you meet up, you get to play with each other. You get to see each other. Yeah, it actually does a lot. You talk a lot of Dota. That's basically what I think the big thing is. You just talk a lot and everybody shares their ideas. And you really get to know each other and how you think about the game much more than you'd ever would online.
I don't know if it's like this for teams and stuff like that, but having played with a lot of people over the years, and obviously having disagreements and arguments with people over the years, you get angry online, but in person, I don't think I've seen a single Dota player like raise their voice or anything like that. They're all like super chill, super calm in person. You're looking off into the distance as though you can think of maybe 1 or 2 names, but you can keep them in your little black book for for later on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you still argue at LANs. I don't think that's too different.
There's no like bitterness, right?
Yeah, you get past it a lot easier. You're stuck there with each other, so you got it. You have no choice. Yeah.
Especially if you're sharing a room with someone.
Precisely.
So draft. Let's run through this quickly. Omni, Sand King, Night Stalker, a bunch of 4-all heroes banned, and then 5 Anchors is like Tiny Bane, Witch Doctor, remove some of these support heroes. Very focused on Noya, who basically plays Bane and Witch Doctor every game, it feels like. With the follow-through, banning out the Gork Razor and the Arise Tinker. They've definitely done their homework. 5 Anchors have looked back on the Dota buff and they've played the same heroes the past 10 matches. Let's get rid of some of these. Well, they come out with some very heavy team fight of their own.
Yeah, I think this is normally how they like to play. I know they really like Clockwork. I know they really like Tusk. And I think for position 5, the Finnish team, they like Jakiro a lot. They like Bane a lot, and then they like this AA hero. But I'm interested to see how they play with this Gyro, because I haven't seen them play this before. And they picked a 3rd, which is a bit like... Normally you would want to wait with your core pick, but they decided to wait with their offlaner, and this might be like... since I played with Trixie, I know he often says, I have no idea what I want. He's like, I don't know what hero is good here. So waiting and trying to give him a better matchup, figuring out what he wants, I think is probably what the idea was here. Just pick an open carry, try to get him into a lane where he's comfortable.
Give Trixie some more leeway in the draft.
Yeah.
I guess Gyro's like a decent response to Wyvern and Tusk in the fact that Snowball and Cold Embrace, they kind of put at least one teammate out of position for Call Down, Rocket Barrage to come in. It definitely triggers memories of the old Topson mid Gyro though, with a homing missile build. Picking it 3rd, leaving it open for mid and safe lane. There's like the potential of it to come out, but maybe a rarity.
No, I think that is a big thing. Like when you third pick a core hero, it kind of has to be able to be in multiple positions. So I wouldn't be surprised if they put him mid at all. I haven't really seen them play it. Like I think Topson is the kind of player, he usually has like this distinct hero pool. In the previous patch, he was like playing Pugna, Monkey King,
Arc Warden.
Oh, I didn't see him play too much Arc Warden, but it was like this
It was always
Qualifiers
banned.
Invoker.
It was like always second phase banned against him. But yeah, the Qualifiers Invoker.
The Qualifiers Invoker, and then it was like some other hero. And you could like, I think it was Wind Ranger. And if you banned like two of them, you always knew which one he would play. So it's interesting if he's like maybe expanded it, added the gyro to the hero pool now in the new patch.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Team Doggie on the other hand, you know, you've got your hard 4, your hard 5, very set in their roles. It feels like the Juggernaut 1, the Bat Rider off lane. It feels like they're signaling what lanes they're going into. 5 Anchors maybe has a bit more room to maneuver in this. Does that set Team Doggie back, or do they have the heroes to kind of just say, we don't care? We've got Wyvern to harass, we've got Tusk to roam. Juggernaut is pretty self-sustaining, and Bat Rider can always jungle if he needs to. Are they scared about any kind of picks coming out of 5 Anchors?
It's hard to say. I think, if anything, it tells you more like the difference between the two teams. Where I think, like, when I think of 5 Anchors, I think this is probably a team that has, like, we have this kind of drafts that we like to play. We have some lineups that we practice. This is what we want to play. They, like, just have this idea as a team. Whereas I think Team Doggie are more like, they just play everything. They're just, like, 5 good players that are playing together. And so they just pick whatever hero they feel is good for the game. I think it's so hard to say because so much of drafting is, like, subjective. And it's about what the teams value and what they think. And yeah, Wind Ranger on Topson.
You called it? Well, kind of.
I don't know if I called it.
Take everything that it gives you, dude. Take everything.
Yeah.
Don't give it a chance. So Wind Ranger into the OD. This is... It just looks like a weird draft from Doggie, right? I don't think I've seen too many of these heroes kind of amalgamated together. I've seen individually, bits and bobs here and there. It doesn't feel like a cohesive draft as much as 5 Anchors does. You can see that they can pressure towers, they can take team fights. They've got the Clock and the AA who can go around and potentially look for kills just as a support pairing.
Yeah.
Do you see like an overarching game plan for Team Doggie here, or is it just like try and win lanes and get through to the mid game?
No, I think it's more like you said. They're going to focus on like... I think this is normally what happens, right? When you haven't played too much together, you're just going to go with like what you're comfortable playing. And these guys are probably like, just like, all right, Arise, what kind of hero do you like in this matchup? Or like, oh, we really think OD is like good for this game.
Okay.
So they pick it. And what I think is interesting to talk about like right now is look at how easy it is for which teams to like get pickoffs, like for the support rotations to happen. Whereas like Clock pretty much can move to no lane and get easy kills. Like Bat Rider can get away from him. OD can stall with Astral. And Jug is very hard for him to kill.
And Tusk can like shard himself out or snowball out.
Right. There's like I feel like it's very hard for this Clockwork to get too much done. So he's probably gonna have to be playing like with AA most of the time in the early game. And I'm not really sure. I feel like the other way around, like this Tusk has a really easy time pressuring Tide with Wyvern and Jug. It's an easy kill from level 1, I think, if he oversteps his bounds. So for me personally, I like where this game is starting off for the Radiant more. It feels like they're probably gonna get ahead. At least they have more play potential, or like easier play potential.
Just from that like 4-roll kind of roaming into lanes that you can activate or
yeah,
create,
pretty much. Yeah.
Create some kind of action. Well, Ward's already coming down. Dire with a very, very safe placement of an Observer Ward in the mid lane. Likely looking for that Tusk, hiding or going up ramps. But what's a good reason for you to have such a deep, shallow ward, I guess it is?
I think probably he felt like he was late to go place the ward, and he thought the enemy team might have had a lane ward already, so he didn't want to show it when he places it. So what's a bit surprising, though, is it's like barely outside of the rune vision range.
Yeah.
You'd probably want to place it like a little bit further down, but I don't know. He probably has some idea. Maybe we looked up a sentrying, I don't know. But I would assume that it is. Like, he was a bit late, doesn't want to risk it, so just places it a bit more defensively.
Get whatever vision you can.
Yeah.
Oh, Peksu comes back, sees the Bat Rider is pulling across. Nothing really he can do. We see this so often now. A lot of teams just pick Bane first to make sure that this never happens. Get the Nightmare going, but of course no Bane this game, as it was banned out very early on. It's still a good move, though. They've managed to drag the wave back a little bit. Their own wave.
Yeah.
They'll be able to hold this close to their tier 1, so it looks like Gyro's done a perfect job.
Yeah, he's gonna just try to deny like as many creeps as he loses here. He's probably only gonna lose 1 or 2 creeps, probably just 1 actually. So this is not at all too successful for the bat. Normally you want to try to deny off as many creeps as possible, but he's just getting 1. But that's alright. He gets the lane where he wants. He gets closer to level 2, which is like bat's most important and hardest level to get to. You usually want to try to shut him down right away, because once he gets 2, he's so powerful at like zoning people out.
Just chasing, especially in AA with no lace, no boots. He's just going to run over the AA.
And there's like no turn potential, right? Like you're playing against an AA, you're not really too scared of him manning up on you or doing anything or like stunning you, and then the carry rotating in. So he should have a really good lane up here on the bot.
Yeah, looking good so far. Mid, just the 2v2. Clockwork's trying to get something done in here, but Tusk offset from the OD, trying to get out of experience range, so Arise can keep this pressure up on the Wind Ranger. Currently Thompson 1 and 4. A few denies in there, but Arise definitely coming out on top in this lane, and it looks like he's controlled the equilibrium on top of his ramp, on top of everything.
Yeah, so Akim, the Tusk player, did a really good thing here in the mid where he blocked off half the creep wave so that Arise had the opportunity to like keep the lane on his side and get through the first couple levels pretty much for free. And now he's rotating bottom. I really like this play. If you look how deep Trixie is, it should probably work out.
Oh yeah, Trixie's under the tier 1. He's pushed 3 range creeps, and so often you feel like you want to pressure the Juggernaut under this tower to remove that experience, but he's opened himself up for the Tusk, like you said, just rotating in. Trixie cuts down a tree. Tang goes up. He's tanky. Is that a 3-man? 2-man anchor smash. Gets the damage dealt. Shards and Snowball will try and slow him down. Is Trixie surviving here with his boots? He is. He gets away from it all, and he's managed to drag the Juggernaut away from that creep wave bottom, but it looks like he'll be fine to grab the couple of range creeps that were there anyway.
Yeah, that actually makes such a big difference. Like, even if he would have died, I think that play is pretty much worth it, because he forces 2 heroes to rotate down bottom, and Wyvern has such a long cooldown on his spells, so once he uses that, you know for a fact that you can play very aggressively, which he's doing now. And even then, not dying is just huge. But even if he would have died, just missing those creeps for Jug and forcing the rotation is definitely worth it.
Is Noya okay here? I don't think this is a battle you want to take. Getting smashed down by the tide. Trixie's just chasing. Oh, he'll be forced back by the burn, at least as mid lane. They do get the kill on Tusk. It looks like the AA Clockwork finally pair up together.
Yeah, I was actually watching that. They went on to Thompson, and then for the last hit, Arise like was right below the ramp and missed the uphill hit. So Thompson survived, and then they turned around and got a kill.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was a feels bad man moment for the OD.
Trixie's just drawing attention bottom. What's he doing? Grabbing bounty runes, dragging double creep waves. Shards and Snowball look good here, taking the Wyvern into battle, but they're lacking the damage. They can't finish him off.
Yeah, this is a really rough start. Like, when I play Wyvern myself, you usually want to make sure that the first couple of Arctic burns really, like, manage to accomplish something.
Oh, they trapped the bat up at top. Has to Joe inside the cogs, but the AA just too far away, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I was expecting this Tusk to get, like, a lot done in the first couple of minutes, but it seems like the Dire has just done a good job of avoiding it. I mean, Trixie, mainly. Making sure he wastes a lot of time, so they're getting through this early game without like giving away too many kills to the Tusk, and then having like this greedier kind of like clock and AA, which wouldn't be able to accomplish as much, is paying off.
Do you think maybe the Tusk could have helped Batrider top to put pressure on the Gyro? Oh, we'll come back in a second. Snowball's going to come across. Nice cogs though. Trapping in the OD, the banish is there, but Thompson turns to fight. Arise is dropping low. The win run from Thompson gets a bit of distance away from Arceum as Hester Joe has arrived. The bat, level 4 with a sticky napalm stacking up, just about catches up, but the body blocks from the Clockwork nearly kill Thompson, but he's found a way around as the clock nearly put his Wind Ranger in danger with all of that turn speed slow from Batrider. But a lot of rotations again from Team Doggie to try and deal with this.
Yeah, I think for like if you're playing as 5 anchors right now, this feels really good. You know, like a lot of plays have happened, but they haven't been successful. And on the flip side, like you look at it from the Radiant side, they probably feel pretty bad. More than like maybe what the numbers say, even as those just like a less than 1k gold lead for the Dire. I think they feel very confident. Like all this plays not succeeding, it just makes you feel good. And when you play when you're confident, you just play a lot better. So I think this actually gives them a huge like mental edge on the Radiant.
Yeah. They're definitely CSing in lane very, very well. Thompson I'll just sit mid against the OD for now. But yeah, like, do you think with this Tusk, if he'd maybe played top lane with a bat, they could have found some kills there? Or would that just have been 5 anchors ditching the gyro and playing aggressively in other lanes?
I mean, it's really hard to say. Like, you don't know what's going on under communication. Probably, like, I think there has been play potential on every single lane. A lot of these plays that he's gone for have almost worked out, you know? So you can't really, like, blame him. But just the fact that they haven't probably are like, more than anything, just like mentally hard to deal with. Like, you gotta be like, okay,
the next move has to pay off. We've got to.
You start thinking that, even though you don't need to. You know, like, it's not much of a lead that their Dire has. Or it's not like his plays have been useless or whatever. But it just feels that way. Yeah.
Like you're gambling, right? You know, you lose a couple of hands, and you're like, okay, next hand has to work out, even if you're not, you know, in the hole or anything.
No, precisely.
You just have to try and break the streak, basically.
Yeah, and Dota, it really is like so much of a mental game. I think people often forget, like, you know, just think about your pubs. You know, you're playing some pubs. How often do you lose because someone gives up? It's like...
Runs down mid. TP's profit. Well, top lane, clock AA. Easy kill on the Bat Rider. And they've got this huge wave coming into tier 1. The defensive Tusk will be here with shards to try and drag the wave back, clear through it, so the tower unlikely to be taken. But again, it's just the Finnish boys kind of drawing the attention of Team Doggie from one side of the map to the other, as they do get the kill. The AA kills the Wind Ranger by standing next to her, and that big old Splinter Blast from Neuer. Level 2 already up in it.
Yeah, Pexo has the perfect chat wheel to describe what just happened.
Oh dear. What do you do in that situation? In TeamSpeak, you're just like, sorry dude, I'm so sorry, please forgive me.
Yeah, something along those lines. You're just like, whoops, my bad. And then, usually, I don't know about other teams, but we don't really talk about it. Maybe start laughing a bit, but that's about it.
Shit happens.
Yeah, you know. And probably after the game, you're getting pretty trolled for it, especially if you win. If you lose, then you don't bring it up, but if you win, you're like, remember when you killed me mid?
We won even though you killed me mid.
Yeah.
Looks like they're trying to set up for something mid, but it's Trixie diving bottom, pops the Ravage even, looking for the kill, but the healing ward keeps the Juggernaut alive as Trixie is turned on. Winter Wyvern's here, mid lane, they're still trying to set up for a fight, but nothing's happening just yet, but Tide turns back to battle the Juggernaut. Has another Anchor Smash to go, but Gork, oh, he's got a Mango and an ulti. He's got to pop this. Just killed. No, he's not getting in range. He can't get close enough.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're winning all the mental battles. Like, for 5 anchors, I think the confidence levels right now are really high. And this is going to probably mean that they're more willing to, like, you know, move around on the map and do really what they want. Like, look at this clock right now. Just running straight over to the other side and placing a ward. I think if, like, the early plays had not worked out, probably wouldn't be as confident to do so. And you can really tell, like, look at how the Tusk is positioned in comparison to the clock. Like, he's just trying to prevent plays from happening rather than trying to set stuff up. Whereas the clock is, like, trying to find stuff to do.
Yeah, Tusk is playing that kind of old-school 5-roll Earthshaker. Sit behind my mid laner, make sure they don't die. But he's not getting any value out of the map at all.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty obvious that he's there, right? I mean, Dire have had observer wards in the area as the Astral and Snowball overlap mid. Shards onto Topson means that, well, he was trapped in with them, but it also means Arise was trapped in with a Wind Ranger, and Topson turns to kill. Oh, that focus fire with a level 1 shackle shot, barely enough to bring him down as Neuer does rotate in, but 5, like, you've been talking about the mental game for so long. Then you have a moment like that where you're both your Tusk and your OD are like, let's go in, let's make a kill happen, just do it. And they both go at exactly the same time. That's got to be hugely demoralizing.
Yeah, I just think, like, when plays don't work out for you, like, time after time after time, it makes it hard. And it takes, like, a lot of, like, I think for a team like them especially, it's going to be very impressive if they can manage to, like, somehow turn it around. And, like, if something happens and it goes in their favor, it's going to mean the world. Like, if the game just keeps going slowly, I think it's just going to drain you mentally more and more. But I feel like, if you're in their position, you're probably thinking, like, this bat blink right now, it gotta work out.
Oh, mid lane, the Astral setup. This has to be it. You mentioned the blink of bat, and has to go into battle. Will set things up nicely. They're throwing everything into Topson here to make sure the Wind Ranger dies. And finally, they get a play that works. Clockwork trying to retreat. The Firefly's wearing off, and there isn't really much napalm here for Joe to throw. So Clock will fall back, but they got one.
Yeah. No, it's good. They needed that. Just something positive to go their way, you know? I like how Topson's decided to skill this Wind Ranger. He went a lot of points. Oh, bottom.
I saw that happen.
I missed it.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. And you can see from the chat wheel, I don't think anyone else expected that. Trixie 1v1ing the Juggernaut. Spin was used aggressively to like shove the wave. And Trixie just smashes and ravages. He's like, yep, that's the play they're making. That's the play.
Yeah, that's not a fun moment to be Jug. When you realize you done goofed. You know, like the spin's running off cooldown, you're probably like, oh,
am I dying here?
I'm probably dead, yeah.
So about that shift in momentum.
Yeah, nah, Trixie's like, no, dude.
Not
We're
happening.
in control of this game.
Oh, top lane Catapult being kept alive. Nymphy and Pexu both just plinking away little by little at that tier 1. No real commitment for it. But Gyro, what are we looking at here? 11.5 minutes in. He should have like a mom on the courier or something. He's got Yasha, my mistake. So he's gone the flat cannon rocket barrage build, and he's likely going to go into the S&Y here.
Yeah. No, I think it's totally fine. There are a lot of builds on Gyro. I've seen both people that go Mask of Madness and then later split it into like Butterfly and Satanic, and others that just rush to straight Sanjin and Yasha, which I think is totally fine.
I think I've seen more of the S&Y recently.
Yeah, okay.
But it's kind of been
Every coin helps.
the correlation that I've seen anyway has been more the like Mask of Madness' max flat cannon build, and Sanjin Yasha is more the a bit of barrage, bit of homing missile, spread your damage across. It looks like he's gone for a nice mix here, Nymphy.
Yeah, no, I'm no expert on Gyrocopter. I don't know how
The
people
hero's
value it.
weird.
Up until very recently, I just didn't like the hero at all. But I've started to see the strength of it.
You know the way.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed the AA kill, but that's irrelevant because Arise, after using Astral, very open to getting right-clicked down here by Thompson on the Wind Ranger. Nothing really left for Arise to give as Nymphy's also arriving. The Gyrocopter wants to fight. Level 1 homing missile thrown in, and it looks like Aki's just straight up dead. Swift rotations in. But again, this Radiant team, if they don't have the resources available to them to save from these kind of initiations, they just fall flat.
Yeah, it just feels like, just look at this like trade. They got an AA kill top with their Batrider. I think like basically right now, every lasso for them is really important. Like, what they get out of it is, oh no. Bat.
He's okay, right? Oh, no, he's not! Clockwork's in!
Yeah, it's a nice play.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it feels rough being the Radiant right now. I've been in their situation, and it's like hard because if you look at their draft, they probably expected to do better in lanes. They have a lot of good lane matchups, like we talked about, where also they probably expected like plays to like go their way at the start of the game. So playing from behind isn't really something their lineup is made for, and in my opinion, they really just need to focus on trying to get some core kills with this bat. Like, combine him up with a Jug, use the cooldowns and get something done. Try to get some map control somehow. Because the way it looks right now, they have the Clock Rocket to scout them, and they're totally out-farming them with their Trixie just sitting bottom and just farming like total madman. They can't really touch him, so he's just going to get whatever he wants and do whatever he wants to do.
That's a great point, right? You look at the Dire setup, they've got Power Shot, Rocket Flare, Ice Blast for vision. Tidehunter, that tanky hero, can go up on the front lines and get information just by being on the map and showing. Whereas the Radiant, they've got, 2 flying heroes, the Wyvern and the Batrider, but that doesn't really offer you the same as mid lane, call down and hook shot thrown in. The Omni Slash does nothing, but the Ravage is huge. Trixie slows their retreat down, and Gork will be caught on the northwestern side. 2 for nothing as the third falls in the back as the Tusk. Just heroes falling like flies here.
Yeah, and I feel like you can probably like tell the desperation there. Like they just see one guy and they decide to go for it, even though like 5 anchors are totally aware. Like in a situation that the Radiant is, you want to get something done, and 4 anchors predict exactly where they're going, and they are all there, and they turn it around.
Oh, this might be good. Bit of damage in with a Splinter Blast. Nicely done. Noya gets the kill. He's put himself in trouble though, but overcommitment potentially here from 5 anchors as the Ice Blast. I don't know if that actually hit. I couldn't see the debuff, but it's the chase now from Team Doggie. Can they catch anyone? The OD cannot. Gork trying to sprint forward. He can't find anyone either. And the Clockwork with the cogs make sure that Hester Joe is kept at bay while 5 anchors make a full retreat bar the Gyro. But he's nearly got a full Manta done.
Yeah, they're all pretty farmed. Like you look at all the heroes, everyone's doing pretty well. But I think the one that's standing out the most is obviously the Tide. You probably did not want him to do as well as he is right now. And the beauty of having a Tide that's this ahead, he can just like sit in the bottom lane, keep pushing that wave out. He knows that if they want to gank him, it's going to take so long and they're going to have to commit so many heroes that his teammates are going to get a lot out of it. But it looks like he does not want to just fall back to farming. They don't want to give away any space. They got their eyes on this bat.
They've got the troll trap from Trixie. Master Joe will get clipped by the cooldown, and that should be the end of him. This Helm of the Dominator, pretty sick. I've seen a few offlaners picking it up a lot. MSS kind of started the trend, I want to say, in competitive anyway, at least showing it to the world a lot with his Darkseer and the Helm of the Dominator Centaur combos. But we've seen a lot from, Kezu, from Trixie, picking up this Helm of the Dominator and just helping your team so much, like the attack speed aura you get, the creeps with the auras from them is amazing, and it doesn't feel like a particularly difficult item to build from the offlane either.
I think it's an item that's very strong when you're ahead. I think if he wouldn't have such a good game, he probably wouldn't have gone for it, but since he's so ahead, it just helps him get more ahead.
And, one by one, Neuer tries to fly away, but he's flying into the enemies. 5 anchors, the big swing around through that ancient and shrine area, move in towards the tier 1. There's a little bit of a trade here, though. At least Doggies are getting something, right? They lose a couple of heroes on the other side of the map, but Arise is farming. They pressure tier 1. Gork is still alive, and he's closing in on that Battle Fury. They've just spotted a big stack there. Unfortunately, not really anything they can clear it with. So it's still looking very good for 5 anchors, but there are a few ways that Team Doggie are trying to weasel themselves back into this game.
Yeah, for them, the play is basically to try to avoid fights and, get some tower damage done, try to just avoid and hit people in places like where 5 anchors are not, because these guys are just going to group up and go. And the game basically becomes 5 anchors are going to try to set up the towers and get pickoffs on the split pushing heroes at the same time as they're pushing other lanes. And whichever team can read each other's movements better is probably going to be the team that ends up on top. As you see Clock bottom trying to catch this OD, but I don't know who caught who here.
I think Arise is going in. Oh, does he have enough? Oh, he thought about it. He cancelled animation on Sandstees.
Yeah, I don't think it would have killed, so probably the right decision.
Level 1 Arcane Orb, right? Not really stolen too much.
Yeah, he just has 4 bonus int. And Clock was at 600 HP, so
probably not happening.
Probably not.
So Trixie is 1v4 top lane. Chances he survives? Oh, they're looking pretty good, actually. Snowball forward. Do they have shards? They've got a punch, but Trixie, there's the Omni Slash to finally secure it. That was looking scary for a moment, though. He's holding that Ravage. Any kind of response there from 5 anchors could have maybe found a team fight, but they're going to go for the efficiency play. Let the Radiant just take the tier 1, pop the glyph, while they get some deep wards down. They get this Radiant jungle under their control, and they also push 2 lanes and farm both of them at the same time, while Doggies are grouping up as this big 5-man unit.
Yeah, and they use a lot for that. They use the Omni Slash and the Lasso, so I would not be surprised to see 5 anchors just group up now and try to finish off the last 2 towers. They still have all of their cooldowns up, and if they were ahead before, when these cooldowns are down, there's another bonus whatever amount ahead, and it becomes really hard for them to fight, as Wyvern's caught.
Bonus monies. Lots of monies.
Lots of monies. These spells are invaluable right now, there's no item that can compare to an Omni Slash at this point in the game, or the Bat Lasso, so with these spells down, it's going to be just run at towers, take whatever you want, don't be afraid anywhere on the map. As it basically is just the Bat that can really do anything to them. He's the only reason that they're not, splitting all over the place and farming, one by one.
Thompson makes this hero look good, I swear. Phase Null Wand. Oh, nice spin. Gork will back up as Thompson Win runs away. But Thompson just doesn't... it doesn't feel like he's super farmed. Even with just Maelstrom phase boots, he felt like he was having a massive impact. But maybe more to do with the rest of his team playing around him.
I feel like Wind Ranger's just one of those heroes, man. You want so many items, so no matter how much farm you got, you just feel like, I don't got anything. I need more.
You look at this Wind Ranger, what does she do? And then Thompson takes her into a fight. Oh, that's what she does.
Yeah, that's true. Now, he does have his hero pool that he really likes to play, and he plays those heroes well, so it's one of the advantages of playing heroes that people aren't used to playing against, is that you normally manage to do things that nobody expects, or even we don't expect because we don't see the hero. But for him, it's probably this is what the hero should be doing.
It's natural.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Jirax's Earth Spirit, when it got added to the game, was holy shit, this guy is ridiculous. But Hester Joe, the Bat Rider, the guy with the Blink Lasso, dispatched And Team Doggie, they've got to get out of here as quickly as they can. Neuer tries to fly over. We'll get the Winter's Curse to buy some time, but Trixie arrives and says goodbye. Winter Wyvern will take a tumble. Gork very deep in behind enemy lines. He has spin TP, and with hookshot already used, there is no way to cancel it.
Yeah, they're just going to go straight for Roche. And Gorg's trying to cut waves. This is a smart decision from 5 Anchors. They probably recognized that he was going to go for this. It's like cool to see, you know, Gorg makes a smart play to cut the wave to prevent them from pushing. 5 Anchors already know that, so they're going straight to Roche. Probably would have done it anyways, but it's a cool little interaction to see.
Nice little adaptations.
Yeah. Bat wants to steal the Sage, dude.
The power shot says no.
Yeah. Topson slams that door shut.
Oh, they even scanned as well. They were literally scanning on top for the Batrider on this camp. To make sure that they catch him. OD will just Astral to walk away. Topson not really the target he wants to go for. The Ice Blast maybe will give Vision of Arise sticking around. It flies over and they know that Tusk is here too. Quick TP away, will get him back to safety.
Yeah, there isn't really much to do as Radiant right now. Like, you kind of just want to try to rat and hope that Dire does some rotation that you can predict and pick someone off. Whereas I think if you're Dire, you have the option of just heading down the lane if you feel confident, but you probably just want this pick off before. This is really good for them. It's going to open up a lot of things.
Just kill the ward, Neuer. Get up on the cliff, Neuer. Oh, the Glimmer Cape. Did he buy enough time? Oh, I think Trixie will know. He's hiding in the trees. Neuer TPs. He's going to get himself away. The Ice Blast flies, but Neuer's out.
What a player.
Godlike. The Batrider might have fed, though. It looks like the brother has tried to save the other.
Yeah, and that gives them probably like an even bigger kill, you know? The hardest thing for them with going at these towers is you don't want to get pulled in by Bat as a hero that's sieging. They don't really have like a good tower hitter. I mean, Gyro probably is the best. Now that he has Aegis, he feels really safe doing it, but even then, getting dragged out of position could be really rough. So with Bat gone, this is... you can take whatever you want.
Take whatever you want. Tier 2 tower, please. Nymphy, Aegis, Manta. Moving into the Lincolns, even. Defensive build up against Winter's Curse seems pretty necessary.
I think it probably has a lot to do with it, Lasso, though. Like, he just really does not want to get dragged into base.
Very true.
I'm interested to see what they do, because I feel like this Lincoln's is the only big item that's really coming up. They already finished the Ags on Windranger, which I would have assumed was like their other item timing. I'm also a little bit... I think normally what you want to do in this situation where you get this Aegis that you want to like close the game with or like start pushing high ground with is you want to put it on the hero that hits the base tower. And even though Flat Cannon's like really good at zoning people off the tower, I think you'd probably want it on Topson, just simply because he deals more damage to the tower with that Focus Fire.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they do with the Siege. Like, is he still going to be running up there and hitting with a Wind Run and just having that for protection? Because there really isn't much damage.
There's no real way to get him out of danger either, right? If Topson is Blink Lassoed, they have to hookshot in to try and save him.
Yeah. Or just play, like, Ravage.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah.
That's probably, like, their save this game.
Safety through aggression.
Precisely.
Batrider cutting waves now. Does have his Blink and Force. Who just popped a Blade Mail? Oh, the Clockwork running through the Firefly with Blade Mail on. Why not?
Yeah, preventing the Bat from blinking away probably was the goal. Hopefully trying to hook him. Didn't get the angle though.
Nymphy facing off against 2 up at top. Lincoln's still up, but cooldown will only barely connect on the Tusk. In the meantime, he's going to pop his Manta to try and dodge some attacks from Arise. Chased down now. With Homing Missile landing, the Batrider will come in, but the Shackle there. Oh, 5 Anchors, they're going to take down 3! So quickly as well, as Nymphy was tanky enough, smart enough, and aggressive enough to just walk into that 1v2 scenario and buy time for his team to get there.
Yeah, that was really beautifully played. He totally knew what was going on there, like, was in full control. The Batrider didn't want to lasso him because he wanted to save it for when he respawns. And that ends up costing him his life as well. And it's just looking really good. 5 Anchors, I feel like they're almost like outclassing this Radiant team. They just feel like a more coordinated team. Team that's played together for a longer time.
We'll see what Neuer can do in this high ground defense. Well, he'll make the Clockwork miss his hook shot, but Gets Force Staff down aggressive. Was that the clockwork? He's like, I missed my hook shot, but I'll force him down to low ground. We'll get him anyway. Nicely played there. And this is just a high ground breach that feels like very little that Team Doggie can do. Juggernaut still not coming back to fight. He's pushing bottom lane. OD is alive. Oh, he'd love to have Hurricane Pike. That Pike is so important for defending high ground as an OD. Blink in, Pike back, but they'll grab the gyro at the very least. Aegis will potentially be taken down here, but no, the Winter's Curse has dragged him back in, made him invulnerable. Nemphy still alive until the snowball lands in, and the bit of damage from that tick of Batrider will finish him off. But it's still the racks being chipped away at here by 5 anchors. Looks like they'll make a quick retreat to get away from this OD who's getting a little bit scary, but they'll come straight back in to finish the melee ranks. Clockwork buys them time. The Ice Blast will fly through, find the Tusk. Even Trixie ravaging onto 2 as well. They're just going to kill them all off. This might just be game as Orion Sentinel's Eclipse does very little. Killing Trixie in the end as Neuer clears up one, but Aki, oh, he's in too deep. Dying there. The Omni Slash now in onto Thompson. Nemphy dropping low, but not dead quite just yet. The spin will finally bring them down. But this feels like end of day scenario as Arise, chased by the clock, Force Staff forward, and a godlike streak continued.
Yeah, I mean, this team fight, I think there was a lot of like really interesting things. The Winter Wyvern just popped his ultimate immediately on the Tide to try to save the gyro, which was a really good play, and that's why they got like this initial like trade, which worked out in their favor. But then they were just out of position for Tide. When he ran in and popped that Ravage, he caught like 3 or 4 heroes, and they're just too far ahead. It just felt like after the laning phase didn't go their way, this game was really hard. There wasn't really anything that their draft allowed them to do except for finding pickoffs for the Batrider. And they did find a couple, but it was just not meaningful enough pickoffs that led to anything. They were just a kill, and then they would lose someone somewhere else on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they'd try and like set up with Tusk OD, and they'd be turned around on by like a Trixie Tidehunter.
Yeah.
Things kind of quickly got out of control. You know, the first 6 or 7 minutes they were CSing well, lanes were going decently. But I think you brought it up perfectly with that kind of mental game you're playing against yourself somewhat. Yeah. Where the first couple of moves from the Tusk, you know, maybe don't work out. Just got to keep a level head and think about, you know, making the next one work. They got that one mid where they, quad ganked the Wind Ranger?
Yeah, that was a Batrider when he first got his blink.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was just a struggle to find anything, really.
Yeah.
But it's only game 1 in a best of 3, so potentially more chances here for 5 anchors to come back into things, as we'll take a short break and be back with the rest of the series in just a little bit.